guys, Cliff here. Thanks for checking out the channel again. This is part 3 of the Dancing Wings Cute Girl build. This episode will cover radio install and covering and all the final little details to get the model finished before the maiden flight. I'll link to part 1 and part 2 at the end of the video, where it'll be the building of the model. And if you've got any questions, put it in the comments below and I'll do my best to answer them. In the meanwhile, before we start, I just wanted to say hi to Thomas Sexton. Hi Thomas. Thomas is only 11 years old, but he's a really keen aero modeler and he's been building since the start of this year, and apparently my videos have inspired you, Tom. So thanks very much for watching my videos, and I'll check out your channel as well. But in the meanwhile, you keep building, you keep practicing, and I know you've got a soft spot for Spitfires, like it's parked outside the window there. So you keep practicing and keep building, and you'll get better and better and better and more successful with your flying. So thanks, Tom, for watching, and let's get on with this build, see what you can learn from this, eh? Cheers. I'm going to try and make everything from the wood that's in the kit. You might be your first build and you might not have any spare wood, so I'm going to use what came in the kit and see how we get on. So here we are. What I thought I might do is put a false floor from, let's use this as a pointer, from the top of the plywood undercarriage mount to back here somewhere. So I need to duplicate this plywood shape, and always keep your scrap, and here's the shape that undercarriage shape is. So all I have to do is to cut this shape out of that little piece of balsa I had left from sheeting the bottom, because I don't have to go over the top there because I need that center section in. The floor for the battery tray, I'm going to use some scrap of ply from this piece, which is a nice bit of 3mm ply, and it only needs to be, I'm hoping, yeah, I should just, that would be just about perfect. So I'm going to cut out this square, put them side by side, and that will form the base for the battery. So let me cut that out, I'll be back in a jiff. Okay, so they're cut out now. I'll just have to join those. Okay, I've got to hold it, but the idea is that, so the battery floor goes like that. So this former is this way up, you can see that, and then when I turn it over I'm going to have that whole section to move the battery in and get it nice. So I've just got to glue, in fact if I cut the hatch out I shall have better access to glue the plywood floor in. A little tip for you, Velcro sticks better to a surface which has got a smooth finish on it. So I'll just cover it with CA, let it dry, put loads of blobs on, spread it all around, and I'll have a nice impervious surface for the Velcro to dry, stick to. So I need to glue in this former. I can leave that there for a minute. I've got to think about cutting out a hatch. Put it this way. Oh, ow, oh. Oops, it's all going pear-shaped. Oh dear, oh dear. Let's see if that's gone through. Yep, there we go. Okay. That'll be the hatch. I'm going to make it nice and easy. I'll put it that way. I'll put a couple of little hooks on the back just to go above that cross member, and then a little magnet, or maybe 2 at the front. So that will go down there like that, and then up there like that. So that's when we open the hatch, that's what we're going to see, and that area will just straight in there with the battery. The push rods. The push rods are made in the traditional way of a length of dowel and a piece of wire cut and bent on the end and bound with cotton and CA'd in. Makes for a really lightweight push rod. So there's no reason why that servo tray can't glue in. There's no reason why the servos can't stay in there either, to be honest, so that's what's going to happen. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to cover 3 sides of the fuselage. I'm going to leave the top clear so as I can thread the rod down for the moment. Cover the tail, get it glued on, then I can fix up the control surfaces. I've got a couple of scraps here, so I'm just going to cover the leading and trailing edge of the tailplane. This is so as I can do the hinges and get them glued in, and then I can cover them properly. It's not something I've done before, but it's an idea I saw online and I thought I would copy that because it's pretty good. Just a little bit just to hold it. Last bit's just to open up the hinge holes again. You can feel it with the back of the blade before you commit to. You can make that slot with the back of the blade. It's a little bit more gentle. And I can glue them in, hinge them, and then cover each part separately. Just butt in the covering film up to there. Don't have to worry about getting into the hinge line because it will already be covered. So it makes for a really clean hinge. Now I've covered the leading edge and I'm just inserting the plastic hinges. Make sure to just rough them up very quickly, just on a bit of fine sandpaper, just to take the sheen off, just to help them to dry, help them to stick, adhere. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to try, what I might do is to put super glue on the inside, like that, and then pull it back through, leaving enough to go obviously in the other side, and get it square. So now when I come to cover the tailplane, I just put that over there, butt it up to there, and if necessary trim it along that line, but there won't be the slightest sign of, well, you can't get in there once you've covered it. So yeah, very pleased with that. Now we don't shrink it at this stage because it'll warp the structure in the direction of the shrinkage, so we wait for the other side to be done and we heat it both sides at the same time. Let's see then, I can probably go down there like that. I'm going to do the same 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more pieces to go, and then I'll come back to you and we'll have a go at shrinking it. So I've covered the top half of the tailplane and bottom half, which you just saw, and I'm going to tighten it out. I'm not going to cover the elevators yet, so I've got my heat gun out. I just want to stretch this out and see how it looks, so let's see. Don't forget, you've got to do a bit each side. Keep it moving. Ta-da! Look at that, a fantastic rich red. I'm going to cover the elevators red. It doesn't matter that the inside of the hinge point is white. Won't really matter. Won't matter in the slightest. So, underneath first, and we'll go on there like that. Wow, I just love this cherry red. It's just sort of Fokker triplane colour, isn't it? It's going to look stunning in red and white. Stunning! So let's just put on that other side. So I'll crack on with this and I'll come back to you shortly. Okay, that's the tailplane covered. It's not too bad. Don't look too closely and it's not too bad. The top, fortunately, is better than the bottom. So now, as soon as I've covered the fuselage side, I can fuselage rather, I can then glue the tailplane on and connect up the elevator, but at the same time I'll glue the fin on as well. We've yet to cover that, but I fancy covering a bit of fuselage, so it's all got to be done. So that's the next piece, like that. Nice and easy. Stop it moving. I'll put some masking tape to just on the front end here. Just hold it in place like that. That'll stop it moving about. There's we'll take this side bit right round to the stringer, longer one I should say, and then I can trim it off in a nice straight line. Okay, so that's one side done and the bottom done. So I'm going to do the same for the other side and top. Just going to come in there and down there like that. It's better. Gently lay it on, because I want it to shrink without touching the woodwork. Because it won't shrink if I touch the woodwork, it just won't shrink because it's glued to the woodwork. So now it's shrunk, I can stick it down. See if I cut through it then. Yeah, just cut through it. That's nice. Nice, almost invisible line, but what you can see looks lovely and straight. So I'm fitting the tailplane. I've offered it up and I've got everything sorted. Put the rubber band on. I've got the centre line marked. Sliding around now. And around the back like that. Okay, let's take that out. Right, I can see it's not in the correct place at the moment, so I'll just keep fiddling and measuring until I'm happy. Got a piece of carbon rod here, which I'm going to use to go from the could go from the very tip of the model down to there, the tip of the model down to there. That's pretty much spot on. Look at that. Don't sound so surprised, Cliff. So I've just offered the fin up and I'm just cutting into the film where I'm going to be gluing it. There we go. Right, so I've got to cover the fin, I've got to cover the rudder, I've got to hinge it, well it's hinged, glue it all together, stick it down, and then we can look at connecting up the control surfaces. Put some stripes on the rudder just to jolly it up a little bit. I've cut a slot, I've roughed them up and cut a slot through, and that'll help the CA to wick down. What I might do is just soak that in CA and push it in quick. In there, like that. Right, this time I'm going to put it on this and push it in. That's how we do there. That's better. Don't take much time to grab. I've noticed actually that carbon and super glue cure really quickly. Let's just go for it. A real quick operation. About 1/16 of an inch gap at the top because the fin tapers, but it's equal. It looks good. So that's the fin glued on. So let's just get this wing off a minute. So first job's to offer it up. Everything moves, clears on full throw everywhere, so nice amount of movement. You want the gap to be as small as possible, really, because aerodynamic wise it's more efficient. All good fun, guys. Thanks for looking in, and I think you'll agree it's looking pretty smart. I painted the firewall black in the end, by the way. It is a cute girl. Okay, chaps, push rods. Now I've made one push rod up. The wire is supplied, the cotton binding is supplied, and the push rod itself is supplied. So I'm going to put this one on the elevator. There we go. So that just comes out the back end, and that push rod will work fore and aft. First of all, I've got to fit the control horn on the rudder. I can see this bottom horn's just going to touch there, so I'm going to relieve the bottom a little bit. So I'll position the horn, drilled one little hole through, put the bolt through, and then drilled the other two holes. So now I'm just winding the back plate onto the bolts, doing them up a little bit at a time. I've got 3 bolts sticking out. I'll snip those off with the cutters. So that's that in place, and that was governed by the height of the push rod. So I've cut it to length, and I've got about, well, 4 or 5 centimeters to bind to the rod. So what I'm going to do is make a mental note of where that is. It's about 1 inch of wire sticking out past the end of the push rod. So I'll take it apart now and bind that up and put it back in. Now, just going to put a little drop of CA on that wire just to hold it in place while I take it off out of the aeroplane. Okay, a little bit of CA, and how about that? That look nice through the window? Can you see that? That looks nice. Right, servos are in and connected up, so let's just show you them moving. They're missing nicely all the way down, so that's how you install homemade push rods. Okay, just fitting the tail. Just glued on the plywood plate that we decided we were going to do on the retaining the tail wheel. The easiest way to put one of the screws inside of the collet is to put the screw on the Allen key, and then it'll hold itself, and then you can just put it straight into the collet. Anyway, there we go, it's in. So that just about completes the tail end. Something else I've just noticed, I've just come to bolt the engine in, and because it's well short, I'm going to have to make up a packer. I've glued together, it needed to be about 1/2 inch. So yeah, so I've made this engine block, epoxy resined it together. Now I'm going to sand it nice and square. And the motor, I should call it, not engine. The motor will screw to that like that, only after I've glued this to the front of the airplane. Well, guys, for a bit of fun, I've put a dashboard on just to tidy that up a little bit. And I've put the windows in. I've stuck them on the inside, cut them up and stuck them on the inside with canopy glue. So I've just mounted the engine mount and painted it matte black. Now it suddenly occurs to me that while it's drying, I could screw on the windshield. There we go. Now I put some CA in these holes just to stiffen everything up. So I'm just going to pinch them up. That's quite a nice tight. I've got two little sticky out bits here, which I'm not sure what I'm going to do with. And I've got this sticking up, which the wing's going to knock very easily, so that has to be fixed down like that. What I think I'll do is to put two little screws, find some screws, put a couple of screws in there, and just cut off these little wings. 4 little screws, and I've trimmed their little ears off, so it's not too bad. While the iron is heating up, I'm going to try and fit the motor. Right, let's have a look at that soldering iron. See how she's doing. Smells warm. Right, I've only got one go at this, so let's get it right. It's going to go through there. Okay. Let's just... There we are. That's the nose fitted, finished. Right. Next job is to curve out the front of the cowl to enable me to clip it on. So that's the shape I finished up with, and that just goes on there like that. So I'll cut a flat piece for the front, and I'm going to try and see if I can get a good join on the top. So look. Now there's not much to turn over, so hopefully it won't kink. Oh, apart from a bit of cleaning up to do. It's gone on quite nice. Surprised myself there. So part of the cowl just with the body of the soldering iron. Just get in there. What I thought I might do is just paint it matte black inside, just to key it all in and tidy it up. That's okay. Quite happy with that. Looks nice, I think, all in red. Right, let's start the wing. I found a little scrap here that starts the centre section. Just be big enough, look. Doesn't give me a lot. The way I get the backing off is just hook it with a knife point like that. Just pull it out. And stick that on there. As soon as this is up to heat, it's on 99, 100 degrees and climbing. I'll put a piece of wood on this, guys. 1mm ply, just on the back edge to protect it from the rubber bands. And I didn't like the way it stepped down, so I've just put a piece of 1/32 balsa, just sort of feathered in a little bit. Same with 2 little bits of balsa there, just to feather it in. Don't have to do that at all, but now usually I don't tighten it out just yet, but there's no reason not to on this bit because it can't go anywhere. It won't warp underneath or anything because it's such a small piece. So what I'm going to do now is just to attach it to each individual rib, because this is the bottom piece and it's the bit that goes against the fuselage, so it's got to be reasonably solid. Now I've got an idea for the colour scheme, because I want to introduce a bit of red on the wing somewhere, because it's it'll look a bit plain otherwise. I've gone over this structure really carefully. Every joint has to be checked and sanded, and everything has to be flattened. If there's one pimple showing, it's going to spoil the whole appearance, so really go over it very carefully. Now I want to make sure that I'm going to stick it to the actual perimeter of the wing because I don't want it to pull off when I shrink it because it's only stuck on this thin edge. So I'm just going to stick it down to the actual balsa. Work my way around. Stretch it as you go. You won't get too many wrinkles in it. Let's put this on. What I've got is half a wing done. It's laying pretty flat so it's not warped. Okay, one half done, one half to go. That completes the wing. Not too bad. I'm going to place some transfers, guys. I think the big one on the wing with the company name up there. Just peel some off and stick it back on again. Leave yourself just a small amount of sticky to worry about. I'm going to put that just there, I think. That's smart. Stick it down there. Turn it back. Peel it off. Turn it back. Peel it off. Pushing the air out as I go. Quite a nice sticker. How's that look? Looks okay. Yeah. Cool. Okay, finally got round to making the hatch, guys. Quite pleased with it. I went for the little magnets in the corner in the end, so I got two buried in here. They're just stuck in the corners there. I made a film tab and it just goes in and clunk. Nice and easy. So that's that done. I painted the inside of the cowl, still drying a little bit, but that can go in there like that. And I think the only thing left to do now, you know, is to bolt the undercarriage in. Well, it doesn't bolt in, of course it glues in. It just seems to me a little bit on the light side. I'm loath to glue it in case it... Well, anyway, so if you remember, we had that G3, which goes in there, glues in and keeps it all nice and tight. But I'm not going to push it in yet because I want to put the wheels on first and then I'll push it in. I've decided to put the ESC on the inside frame here. I'll put a bit of CA on the balsa wood to give it something to bind to, stick to the Velcro. So Just going to stick it in place. The easiest way to do that is to stick the Velcro onto the device that you want to place and just put it in position and push it on like that. So now when I pull it off, the Velcro will be in the place that I want it. Can you see it in there? So I've sat the receiver there on a bit of Velcro. This one's got a little satellite receiver which I've sat down inside there on a bit of Velcro down in there. But I'm going to now have a go at this CG. I know I've still got the undercarriage to go in, but I'm leaving that for a minute till I've finished fiddling about here. Otherwise, that completes the model. I won't be running the motor up, not with the prop on. I'll just put that on for balance. So very important that. Okay, so I'll do the CG. We're going to see how much they supply in the kit. All this lead, very nice, sticky backed. So I'm not sure it is lead actually, it might be. It feels reasonably heavy, so that might be needed. So I'll get the wings on and put a battery in and see what happens. Let's give it a little spin then. There we go. DW cute girl, looking pretty cute. She wants to fly. You can't fly. I want to fly. Take a couple of pictures. There we go. Well, I'm happy with that. I have beefed up the undercarriage, so I put a little spreader bar in there to stop it going too springy because it's quite lightweight. But apart from that, it's pretty much as standard, apart from the little cowl I made. Yeah, nice looking model.